Jared Kushner justified murder of Saudi dissident journalist Khashoggi, calling him a terrorist.
Here's a summary of the article.
A terrorist masquerading as a journalist. An explosive new book claims Jared Kushner dismissed the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, echoing Saudi claims the veteran journalist was a terrorist. The property developer turned Middle East envoy labeled slain Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi a terrorist in an off-the-record conversation with a reporter, according to Vanity Fair. Khashoggi's gruesome murder and dismemberment in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul is known to have been carried out by state security forces and ordered by Mohammed bin Salman himself, according to the CIA and Turkish intelligence. Kushner, who is known to have close contact with MBS following the killing, spoke of Khashoggi to a reporter, saying, "This guy was the link between certain factions in the royal family and Osama. We know that. A journalist? Come on. This was a terrorist masquerading as a journalist." Khashoggi had been in self-imposed exile since 2017, writing a column for The Washington Post until his death in October 2018. Khashoggi had known and interviewed former al-Qaeda leader Osama bin Laden several times. After bin Laden's assassination in 2011, Khashoggi lamented the once beautiful and brave man had surrendered to hatred and passion.
This post received a score of 42,666, with an upvote ratio of 85%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Clearly it's the journalist who is a terrorist, not the people who murdered a journalist and chopped up his body.
Yeah, also not the people that organized and paid for 9/11 and that bomb and starve children in Yemen. They can't possibly be terrorists, must be the journalist trying to pick up some papers.
There is something that is not widely known among Westerners. King Salman, personally, was in charge of collecting donations for Afghani jihadists when he was the mayor of Riyadh years back. I'm surprised not many people know this. He is almost personally responsible for Afghani terrorism.
But that began when the Mujahideen were fighting the Soviets. We call that kind of terrorist a freedom fighter. Of course, this was specifically one of the things that Khashoggi criticized Salman for.
The Mujahideen differ greatly from the Taliban though. They were actually born and raised in Afghanistan and tutored by educated imams. The Taliban were mostly Afghan orphans in Pakistani madrasas being tutored by uneducated imams following an extremist Pakistani Sunni religion and Pakistani sympathizers. The difference couldn't be bigger. The Taliban know nothing of their own country in comparison with the Mujahideen who were fighting the Soviets.
The US had a big hand in the violent education of the Taliban.
Exactly. I would say the major hand in creating them.
Ooh, so close, Jared. Actually, the terrorists were the Saudis. Yes, the Saudis were the actual terrorists that financed and largely performed the 9/11 attacks that lured us into a war with Iraq and who also physically dismembered a WAPO journalist living full-time in the US. It really was a 50-50. I hope Individual 4 improves in future iterations. Donald Trump family members and associates, what do they know? Do they know things? Let's find out.
What is this, a crossover episode?
Doggy what now?
Trump is definitely a Zoe.
And Don Jr. is definitely a Zelda. The American government siding with the Saudis, the biggest terrorist funding state in the world, while decrying a journalist as a terrorist. You couldn't make it up. And all the so-called patriots lapping it up. What the hell happened to my country?
The patriots that used to say better dead than red now say better Russian than Democrat.
Correction. When they say better Russia than Democrat, they are no longer patriots.
They never were.
They're not even Americans in my eyes.
A lot of people argue that we should have a government like Russia or that we should take pointers from them. They're Christian, they're white, they don't put up with LGBTQA+. I always recommend those people try living there. Suddenly they aren't so keen.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.